eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash.
They did the monster
The
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
That was pretty epic.
You like that? I like the Batman dog. Good evening.
Evening.
How are you tonight, Moxie?
Hanging in there. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Good. Oh, whoopsie. I pulled up the video and I could hear us.
Oh,
So I want to say hello to anybody joining us. This is our Halloween episode, and we are going to cover protection, and we're going to talk about some spiritual testimonies from friends, and yeah, we'll talk about like what are ghosts, how do we protect ourselves. And we have a ton of memes to share. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. Who do we have in chat? We have Herbie, Carrie. Carrie's not joining us tonight, but she's in chat. It's good to see you in chat, Carrie. We have Prayer Warrior and Magnolia. It's so good to see all you guys.
it is.
For anybody who missed the awesome bat dog.
Third time's the charm.
Sorry, I might have to keep that little doggo around for a while. Anyway, yeah, I want to get into it. And before we get into it, I thought it would be good to start with a prayer, because of the topics that we're going to cover tonight. We want to make sure we're protected. And what better prayer to pull up than a Q drop? Should we pull up a Q drop and read it?
Sure.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. This is Q drop 4739. I posted this earlier because it just touched my heart for today. I thought it was perfect for today. So it's strengthen my faith, Lord. Give my sins so that I may be clean in your righteousness. Make me brave so I can stand and fight the spiritual battles. And that's what we're going through right now in my life and in our world. Give me your wisdom and discernment so I won't be caught off guard. Together, Lord, we'll win because in truth, you already have. I just love that part. While evil still roams, the power of your name and your blood rises up to defeat and bring us victory against every evil planned against us, which there is a lot of evil planned against us. While malicious actions may disturb us, we'll use the armor of God you've given us to stand firm. And that's the big call out right there, is putting on that armor of God. You will bring justice in due time for all the harm and needless violence aimed at your children. Until then, we remain in your presence, aligned with your purposes, and we look to you as our supreme commander and protector. Help us to avoid temptation and deliver us from evil, Lord. You are the mighty one, the one who will ultimately bring all evil to light. With you, Jesus, we are safe. Amen. May God protect us. So, throughout our shows, I don't know if everybody else is feeling it, but I feel like there's been major spiritual battle happening lately. Are you feeling it, Moxie?
Oh, I'm feeling it. The bad dreams are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every night now. Every night
Are
bad.
you? Really?
Waking up, can't sleep through the whole night. Like it's
I'm having sleeping issues too. I'm waking up at like 3:30 in the morning. And interesting. Are you like waking up, or are you not able to get to sleep, or
both.
really?
I'm normally in bed asleep by like 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30. Lately, it's been 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning before I finally fall asleep and stay asleep.
Oh, wow. And then you have to get up early too, right? So,
Yep, it's been insane.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm feeling it too. And well, before I get into the serious stuff, Carrie said Gracie May is watching too. Cute little Gracie May, her little doggy, her new puppy. Yeah, there's a lot of spiritual battle going on, and I was talking to Carrie about this too. It seems like it's been going on for a few years, but ever since, I don't know if you've noticed this or anybody in chat, let me know if you feel the same way, but it seems like after the day that Hamas attacked Israel, like it almost unleashed a negative energy in the world. And so I feel like we really have to protect ourselves right now. Yeah, we've got to put on this armor of God. I posted a couple of years ago now, Ephesians 6, what is it? 6? I don't remember the exact.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
But yeah, it's chapter 6. And I think it's just really important before we start tonight that we are putting on the full armor of God. We are going to talk about some cool spiritual things. And I really want to highlight some of those really neat experiences and how God talks to us. But, there are some folks that have had other experiences too. And I think we should touch on those as well. So with that, somebody in my chat, before I get into people's testimonials, sent me a magazine illustration from 2012. That was the cover of the Economist magazine. And it was their Christmas issue. And I know it's hard to see I'm going to zoom into some of this stuff because it's pretty interesting. This, especially considering it was 11 years ago.
When you showed it in chat the other day, I didn't realize that it was from that long ago. Like, I thought it was very, very recent.
No, and it was their Christmas edition. So I'm going to zoom in and show you a couple of interesting things. So, what did they title this? I forget what they titled it. I have to go in my chat and see. But I don't know if you guys can see this. Whoa. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate my browser. This right here is Hamas. And what are they in? They're in a hang glider. And who are they fighting?
It's insane.
It says Wrath. and they're fighting Israel. This is Israel. So, yeah, isn't that just kind of nuts that this was an illustration from 11 years ago and they happened to be in hang glider? So,
That's interesting.
Yeah. When Hamas first attacked Israel, they were coming in through a hang glider. And there's a lot of other interesting stuff on here. I don't need to highlight this whole illustration, but like British journalists are dumping people into a lake of fire. Journalists. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, but there's somebody mentioned in chat too that all the sins are in this photo.
I was
There's
just going to bring up the 7
hackers.
deadly sins.
What's that?
I was just going to bring up the 7 deadly sins. That's the
Yes.
first thing I noticed when I looked at that.
Was it you who brought that up in chat?
I don't think so. I haven't been very talkative.
Yeah, but we've got these cyber hackers, and then look at this.
Reality
Obama.
TV over there with Simon Cowell and
What? Where's Simon Cowell? Oh, yeah.
right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. And then we've got Obama in a pride boat. Now, what's been happening the last few years? Isn't that kind of
The pride
interesting?
stuff pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that. People who follow on Telegram already know about this because I posted it already, but I found that super interesting. So with that, I put a call out for folks to go ahead and post if they had any spiritual stories, like experience with angels or God speaking to them. I thought that would be a cool thing to share. So we got a few responses, and yeah, let's go for it. Let's start sharing some of this stuff. Mike, I don't know if can you read good enough, Moxie?
I can.
The screen?
Absolutely.
Maybe we could trade off. Maybe you could read Mike's, and then we can go back and forth.
Okay, hopefully I won't start crying, but I'll do my best.
Okay, if you don't want to, let me know.
No, I'll be fine. Hopefully, I kind of glanced over it earlier. I didn't read it all the way through, but I do get very choked up with some stuff like this. So if I ugly cry,
then that means we love you and you're actually feeling compassion. So it's all good.
it means I'm not a bot.
Yeah, it means you're not really a bot, even though some people think you are.
So he said he wasn't sure where to begin. Death has been chasing him his whole life, since before he was born. And he says, in 2005, I fell ill to a Staphylococcus MRSA infection in his lungs. I died twice while being life-flighted to a better hospital and was comatose-induced in order to stabilize my vitals. I was drowning with an infection filling my lungs with fluid. If I remember correctly, I was in a coma for 2 weeks and in the hospital for 2 months. Nobody thought I would make it. Family and friends were called to say their goodbyes, but by the grace of God, I'm still here. I clearly remember having nightmares in my comatose state, subconscious mind, and in each one I was dying, but before I died, the nightmare would switch to a different dream. It was weird, almost prophetic, of things to come in my future, which opened a different can of worms that I won't get into. When I woke up, I remember a nurse telling me that God had a special purpose in my life. I had a lot of family and friends come out to pray and intercede for me at the hospital. And thanks and glory to God, it just wasn't my time to go.
Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing story. And I see Mike's in chat now. Hey, Mike. Thank you for sharing your story. It's incredible.
Yes, Mike.
It is. And I want to actually hear more about your experience. If you ever want to share sometime. But yeah, this is an incredible story. God keeps us on this earth because we have additional purposes to fill, and we are blessed to have you, Mike. This reminds me of And I'm not sure, I might have shared this with folks before, but it reminds me of my story, which I'll pull up others as well. But a few years ago, well, right before COVID, so it was 2019, my mom lived with me. We picked this house out together. My dad, ever since my dad passed away, my mom has lived with me, and on and off, but for the most part. So we were like best friends because she lived with me. But she went into the hospital for a non-risky surgery. It was going to be a quick couple of days in the hospital, come back out. And she was doing great after her surgery. And she was in high spirits. She's like, I want to get out of here. I'm ready to go. I want to start walking, like they wouldn't let her walk the first day. And she was just super happy. And within hours, like I go back to work, within hours, the hospital calls and says, we had to send your mother to intensive care. So this could be a long story, but I am going to make it short. I'm not going to be one of those long story short people that makes it super long. But basically, she got sick from the hospital. She got sick from the hospital and ended up with pneumonia, couldn't breathe, had to be on oxygen, then had to be intubated. And after a few weeks, she ended up passing. But my story here is, and I'm surprised I can talk about it. This is probably the first time I've been able to talk about it without getting emotional. And sorry, sis, if you're watching, you're probably getting emotional. But what happened is when she was intubated, they put her in a drug-induced coma too, Mike, like they did with you. So like all your steps sound like what I went through with my mom. And but there was a point in time where they took her off of the medication. She was awake, but she was still intubated, so she couldn't talk. And she was, I was up against the wall at the end of her bed, and she started pointing to my right. And she's pointing, and I'm like, what? And I'm looking, and I said, what, the sign? There was a sign on the wall, and she goes, and I'm like, what? And I said, is someone there? And she nodded her head, and I said, are they here for you? And she shook her head no. And I said, are they here for me? And she smiled and nodded her head yes. Oh, Moxie. I know now I might start getting emotional, because at that point I didn't think she was going to go. At that point we weren't aware that that's what was going to happen. And anyway, so I said, is it an angel? And she just goes like this to me. Like, but she knew they were there for me and not for her. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Mike, you reminded me of the story with my mom, and yes, I'm so sad she's gone. I will move on because I am starting to get emotional, but I do think an angel was there comforting me. Me and my sister, we slept there. We were there all day, every day for weeks. So it was hard because I had just started the job I'm at right now. I mean, I was only in that job for like a month or two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'll move on. I don't mean to make people too emotional, but it did make me feel good, and I think back to that, like there was an angel with me comforting me because I was distraught. So Mercy says, oh gosh, I have so many. I heard God once audibly, but I have tons of encounters with God. As a child, I didn't know I was prophetic. I grew up in a haunted house. I had so many encounters. I'm sorry, I'm still emotional. I had so many encounters with the dark side as well until I knew to take authority. That's a key right there. I would need my own show to tell it all. Oh, mercy. Oh, mercy me. We'll have to Zoom and you'll have to tell me your story and we'll have to see if we talk about it. But yeah, sometimes you do need a show to tell your whole story.
Willow's
Oh,
coming to comfort me.
hey, Willow, was mommy getting emotional?
Oh, I
Oh,
have stuff on my lips.
oh,
You're so
Willow.
sweet. That's a good girl.
So, yeah, I do want to get into this, like, what is a haunted house? But it would be interesting to hear all of your stories, Mercy. And she had a part 2 here, I think. Yeah. I have also visually seen demons. Many of them look like some of the Halloween decor. I realize there's a reason why things look the way they do, which is an interesting statement. I kind of want to probe her and ask her more about that. But that's from Mercy. And Carrie says, amazing story, Mike. He has so much more for you to do. He sure does. And Prayer Warrior says, God bless you, Mike. God has more plans and purpose for your life. Yep. That is so amazing. Yeah. So then I don't know how this person pronounces their name. Is it Pabr or just Pabr? Can you see
I
my
haven't
screen?
a clue.
Oh, okay. So it's your turn.
My turn again? How come I
Yeah, I
get
did Mercy and myself.
Okay. He's working tonight, so he won't be able to be here. He says he's had many miracles in his life. One was, or she, he,
Yeah,
she.
Yeah.
One was when my husband and 2 young daughters and I were driving around a curve after a rain. This was out in the country, and I'm trying to scroll down. It's not scrolling.
Sorry,
Someone had come along earlier who had been in a trailer and left mud all along the curve, making it very slippery. When we went around that curve, we found ourselves on the side of the road, sliding forward, going about 40 miles an hour, heading straight for a telephone pole. I prayed and said, Lord, here we come. We were all coming home. I looked at my children, aged 4 and 6, and their eyes wide open, watching what was happening. The next thing I knew, we were back in the middle of the road. This road was not a highly traveled road, so we pulled over and stopped and walked back. We saw where our tire marks abruptly stopped in front of the telephone pole and started in the middle of the road. That was God and only God. That incident, our daughters still remember well.
Wow. That's definitely angels that stepped in there. That's incredible. Oh, I wish she could have been here with us tonight. Friend, this is such an awesome story. Does anybody else have stories of or know people that something like this has happened to?
My ex-mother-in-law likes to tell the story over and over again about how she was driving in the heavy fog at night. On Christmas, she was coming back from she was teaching in Iowa and lived in northern Wisconsin. And she couldn't even see the signs on the side of the road until she was like right on top of them. And she somehow missed the turn.
Fog can be bad.
And this was, I mean, she's in her 70s now. So
yeah,
we're talking way back in the long before cell phones. Like this was before she was even married and had kids.
Yeah.
She was in her, so we're talking 50 years ago. And she missed a turn somewhere and got completely lost. And she pulled over and she prayed, and then she got back on the road. And when she felt it, she decided to take a turn. And she was about an hour late for when the time she had planned to arrive. but she arrived in one piece and she has no idea how she got there or how far off track she was.
Really? Wow. So why was she going from northern Wisconsin to Iowa? I mean,
From
you said
Iowa
she
to Wisconsin for the holidays,
for
for
the
Christmas.
holidays. Okay, because you said she was teaching. I'm like, is that her
Yeah,
commute? Like, that's a far commute.
yeah,
Oh,
she was going home for Christmas, and it was very, very foggy out, on top of, snow everywhere and everything, because
yeah.
that happens up here. But she was completely lost, had no idea where she was. She didn't dare pull out a map or try to read anything like that. She's like, I'll just keep going north, and, eventually I'll hopefully
Get
hit that
there.
area.
Wow. Good thing she didn't like land in Canada or something.
Right?
Wow, that's an incredible story. I do know my mom and dad told me a story about how they were broken down and somebody stopped to help them and they turned around to thank them. They wanted to like invite them to dinner.
Mhm.
You know how people were back then. This was like probably the 70s or 80s. And they disappeared, like gone, poof. Like they couldn't find them anywhere. So I hear a lot of stories like that, and I think it's pretty incredible. Yeah. We've got another one, and Jared said that God used to talk to him daily through signs, events, and through other people, and he needs to get back to where he can hear him. So I think a lot of us are feeling that way, where we want to get back to, listening to God. And Carrie posted 2 Psalms, which are awesome. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. You want to read the next one?
Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty.
Yeah. What a great share, Carrie. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, those are our testimonials. And I know one person brought up about haunting, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I have an opinion, and it doesn't mean that's what it is. Everybody probably has different opinions. But if it depends on your worldview. I try to, there are so many questions like, what are they? What are ghosts? And what about psychics and psychics that like will say they talk to people who have passed and they have loving messages and all of that. And I feel like every question you have can be answered if you're Christian, can be answered even if you're not Christian, every question can be answered in the Bible if you have a biblical worldview. And I'm still a baby learner, so I could be off on this. And I was trying to go and see if other people had similar views, but I was just thinking, from everything that I've read and tried to reference, nowhere does it say that people die and stay on the earth as a spirit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what the Bible does say is that there are spirits, and there's 2 different kinds of spirits. Angels that work for God's purpose, and fallen angels, demons that work against God's purpose and are deceptive. So my thought just is, and I started jotting down some verses, but to reference. But my thought is that even if it's a good message, like from a psychic, or if you're seeing a ghost could be an angel. It could be real. It could be a spirit. it could be an angel, or it could be a demon trying to deceive you or manipulate you. And I think when psychics are talking to people who have passed on, I think both the psychic and the person who lost somebody are being deceived. Because I think there's many psychics that are well-meaning, but nothing in the Bible. Actually, what the Bible says is when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. I mean, they don't talk there. There's no talk about remaining on the earth. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me and send me a Bible verse. Oopsie, I almost canceled us out. Almost. But I'm going to reference just a couple of Bible verses, and then I'd love for other people to share too. But in 2 Corinthians, it says in there that Satan transforms himself into an angel of light, so to deceive, and that his ministers are also transformed into righteous ministers of righteousness. So that's 14 and 15, verses 14 and 15, and that's just calling out the deception right there. So that's one of them. And then if you go to Hebrews and read Hebrews 14, or is it? Hang on, I've got some links. Let me see. Is it Hebrews chapter 9? Sorry, I'm trying to find my. It's Hebrews chapter 9, and it's verse 27. Sorry, I had the wrong one. It says that men die once. So there's a lot of a part of the other side of the spiritual world is people talk about reincarnation and that they have dreams of past lives and all of that. But the Bible says that you die once. And after that, you're judged. It doesn't say after that you roam the earth. And then just one more. In Matthew, it says that, which chapter am I on? Oh, it's chapter 25. That in it, right before verse 46, he's talking about how what people do, like they go to the Lord, and they saw that we were hungry or thirsty or a stranger, and you didn't help us. And he's saying, these people go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous go into life eternal. So this is pretty much saying you go to heaven or hell, pretty much. So, and I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. But with that, there are some other interesting Bible verses if you go to the BibleStudyTools.com. Which one? Oh, this one. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Here's the Hebrews one that I brought up. So Isaiah says, 8:19, when someone tells you to consult mediums and spirits who whisper and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? So shouldn't you be looking to God for those answers, right? So why consult the dead on behalf of the living? So there are different references. I would love to know what you guys think in chat. Let me see what folks are saying. Because maybe I'm crazy, A prayer warrior says, I think I heard angels say my full given first name several years ago. Crystal clear, freaked me out. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, Carrie said 2 of my favorite verses. For it is appointed once for man to die, and after. Oh, Carrie. Yep. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still a baby learning the Bible, and that's just the thoughts to me. I have a past of believing a lot of that stuff, and but the more I learn in the Bible, the more that I'm totally convinced that that's what it is. So it's just even if they're saying good things, they'll say good things to deceive you. Because what do they want you to do? They want you to believe in man over God. They want you to believe in psychics over God. They want you to idolize spiritual people over God. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, do you have any spiritual experiences you want to share, Moxie? Or
I can't really think of any. I've been trying to think of some since we decided we were doing this. I do want to say though that I am not crazy. I'm not seeing things. I'm swatting at these little flies.
oh,
that
while we're talking about ghosts, you're swatting at flies.
I'm swatting at things. I'm not going crazy or anything like that. We have these little flies, and there's just a couple of them in the house, and they seem to like follow me around. But I promise I just showered. But they're just flying at my face as I'm trying to talk.
Oh my goodness.
And so it yeah, I've had people come to me in my dreams that have passed.
Have you? You have dreams of your loved ones?
My grandma showed up once, and that was really, really interesting for me because she really suffered at the end. And she came and told me she was good. She was comfortable and good. My mom died just a couple of months after yours did. And Carrie's, I guess, died right around the time that yours passed.
All three of us are moms.
That year's a rough year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was right before COVID too. So I kind of wonder with my mom, especially because anyway, continue.
Same. My mom had pneumonia that popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah. And my mom's they called it a super bug. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah. My mom had pneumonia that nobody knew about. And she, one day she hit the floor and she was down for more than 15 minutes. And I got that call that, hey, you need to come now. And when I had driven all the way down there, 2 hours away, they still hadn't moved her from the emergency room. She wasn't stable enough to move.
Aww.
And then they ended up transferring her to Madison. And then I remember praying that she was going to be brain dead because there was no way she was going to want to recover after that. She wasn't going to want to go through the brain injury rehab and all of that. I used to work that. I used to work in brain injury rehab, and I knew she wasn't going to want to put in the work. And 2 days later, they did declare her brain dead. And we had to pull the plug. And it was rough. But as we're sitting there waiting for the respiratory therapy guy to come and take the tube out of her, before we could do the whole pulling of the plug and everything. We're sitting there. I was praying. My sister's praying. The Police song, Every Breath You Take, comes on.
Oh, honey. Yeah.
Still Gatsby. And after they pulled the tube out of her and let us come in, she was still, her heart was still going for about 15 minutes. And as we got closer to the end, she actually raised her hand up.
Oh.
And I remember turning to my dad and my sister who were on that side. I was holding her hand already on the bad side. She had a bad shoulder and couldn't move that hand. I'm like, is somebody gonna grab her hand?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they just were frozen or what, but I mean, they say when someone's brain dead, they're not there, and she had been gone for 2 days already, but
Mm-hmm.
I think she came back for a second there.
You know, I think so. I think that can happen. You know, it's like a goodbye.
That one was
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you like.
But she came back a few days later in my dream, told me that she had faked her death. So I don't believe my dreams.
Yeah. No.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's we also had
Well, sometimes just so you know, sometimes dreams are just our subconscious working things out. But sometimes God does speak to us through our dreams. You know?
definitely. And we had a girl, the prom queen, committed suicide 2 days after our 5-year reunion.
Oh.
And she came to me in my dream and told me to tell her best friend that she was okay. I didn't, because I mean, I can't trust that. It was just weird. Like, she came to me like a year later and told me to tell her friend that she was okay. Which was weird. But these darn flies, they're getting me.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what the deal is.
You need to go get some spray and spray?
No.
Okay.
No, they're just little fruit flies. I don't know what is going on, but they just won't leave me alone.
Yeah, sometimes if you overwater your plants, like, yeah. Well, wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I actually, my grandfather was not, I mean, we'll get back to positive and we have lots of memes. But my grandfather, when I was in high school, so I lived in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if people know that. And after 9th grade, so this was while I was a teenager, I lived in Saudi. My dad was working out there. So he was building hospitals and prisons and air bases and stuff like that. He was in construction management. But after 9th grade, I had to, like, they didn't let Western kids there. They didn't want the Western influence. So I could only go there during the summer. So I went there during the summer before my senior year and went back home. I stayed with my aunt while I was in high school. But my grandpa was very sick. He was very sick when I left for Saudi, and he was still very sick when I got back. And I just said on the way home from the airport, I want to go see grandpa because I just had an urge to go see him. And I do feel like angels were guiding me because, and I can't explain everything, but I went to see him and I hadn't even gotten home from the airport. And I was standing in the room close to the doorway, just looking at him. He was literally from Norway. So he had these big blue eyes that just like pierce through you, gorgeous eyes. Anyway, he was looking at me and I knew he couldn't talk and I didn't want to upset him. So I just kind of stayed there and I was just thinking, oh, you know, why suffer? What are you hanging on for? Why don't you just go home to Jesus, you know? And, because he would just lay there and he couldn't move. He couldn't talk. He couldn't do anything. But you know what he did? He answered me. And I was thinking it. I didn't say it. I was thinking it. I was praying for him. I knew I wanted to see him. And he answered me. And he said to me, yep, 7 a.m. That's what he told me. And when I woke up the next morning, my aunt's shaking me. I almost said my name. She's shaking me. She says, get up. I need you to help me with, she did daycare. I need you to help me with the kids. And I sat straight up and I said, oh my God, I knew he was going to go at 7. He told me he was going to go at 7. And she jumped back and she couldn't believe, like I woke straight up from sleep. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's angels or God, but I was definitely praying when he answered me. And maybe they answered through him. I don't know, but that's another story. So I have lots of stories like that. But I think it's incredible, and I love that kind of stuff because you can feel when it's the Holy Spirit versus things aren't feeling right, you know? So let's see. Oh, very heartfelt story about your mom, Moxie. That small gesture meant so much. What a blessing. It's so true. Prayer Warrior says, I'm sorry. You all have lost your mom. There's nothing like a mother's love. And Prayer Warrior has lost her mother too. So that being said, after the testimonials, I actually wanted to quick pull up. Where's my, oh, interesting. Where did it go? So there was oh, here it is, I think. No. Here it is. So what I wanted to pull up is Peppy Lives Matter back in May wrote a Substack. And I feel like it's super appropriate today. So after this, we'll go ahead and get into our memes and not a meme because we have a ton. But I'm going to go ahead and read this. And we can take turns reading it too. It's not that long. But this is from May. But he says, if you turn on the news today, you will see a parade of mentally unwell trannies shooting after shooting, negativity ad nauseum. Yet this doesn't portray the full picture of our world accurately. And I just want to add real quick. And now we've got war. Like everybody's threatening World War III. And I kind of want to highlight what I said Carrie and I talked about before, which is how energy changed after this. So I think this is why the Substack is super appropriate right now. We are being conditioned by bad news to take a myriad of black pills and allow hopelessness to cloud our vision. Like moths to light, we are drawn to the most heinous and bombastic story of the day. Isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
To put it simply, your spiritual armor is not designed to weather such evil at all times. There's a reason why Paul told his church to focus on heavenly things and think about them. So here's a super good message right now. So he says, guard your mind. That's the title of his Substack. What you dwell on is akin to eating. You are consuming messages, whether subliminal or blatant, and you're ingesting those into your mind and soul. Don't get me wrong, the red pills are absolutely essential. So that's like, it's super important that we expose all the evil, but at the same time, and they need to be spread around. So we do need to spread the word of what's happening in the world. But you can overdo it, is basically what he's saying here. You can overdose on them. And if you aren't careful, you can become an unwitting victim of the mass media propaganda, not just mass media, just information. You can become an unwitting victim of all the information that's happening out there. But the media does want you to focus all day, every day on being outraged. I'm writing this to implore those who are reading this to retain balance in this precipice and guard your mind.
It's so important right now.
It's so important right now. If you feel yourself becoming sick and tired, focus on the good that's happening in our world more than the evil, and the necessary. So the necessary unveiling, that's a huge thing that he points out here. So even though you should focus on what's happening good, the unveiling is necessary. This is a long distance marathon. Don't make it harder for yourself than it has to be. The spiritual forces of this world are enraged for a reason. It's because God is moving. Never forget that. God is moving. So think just for a moment of all the good in the world. Do you know that I go to the store or I go run some errands and you meet super nice people and it's like, you got to remember there's so many, probably more good people in this world than evil. But all the evil is being highlighted. Use wisdom. Think for just a moment of all the good in the world. A child smiling, a dog giving you undying love. Isn't that true? Your animals are unconditionally loving you. Your friends and family sharing a meal, the courage it took you to win a personal victory, your aspirations to make heaven proud. So just because we are leaving Babylon, so this is a good analogy of what happened with Babylon when, they built the tower and refused to leave. It doesn't mean we must focus solely on the evil. So when this is all said and done, there will be something beautiful to build. So start now. Isn't he just what a writer that guy is?
Absolutely.
Even though that was from months ago, it just felt
still relevant right now.
So appropriate right now. So appropriate. Magnolia says, God blesses our hearts and minds with peace when we focus on him. That is so true, Magnolia. And I know Magnolia has experiences too, but she's not ready to share just yet. And I wanted to acknowledge that, Magnolia, because I know you said that earlier. With that, we've got some Halloween memes and not a meme. Are we ready to start? Should we start with this?
Bring on the memes.
Should we start with the scariest thing ever?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, I pulled up a couple of scary pictures of Hillary. So I did this intentionally because I'm going to show a meme. These pictures cracked me up. Okay, I'm like, I almost wanted to do a video just of her facial expressions. But this is what I wanted to pull up. So I found this meme on Twitter. But I do want to be fair and balanced. So I have
about the difference kind of thing,
yeah. The twin. Everybody has a twin. So I wanted to be fair and balanced. So I found one for Ted Cruz as well. Oh my goodness. All right. And speaking of Hillary, this is a good one. This inspector shared with us earlier today. These are aliens that have information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. And then what happens? 5 hours later, they're in their coffins. And inspector says Halloween can be deadly, just like Hillary Clinton. Happy Halloween. Oh, it's so bad, but it was so good. I think I have 2 of his that he shared.
He's been on it lately.
He has been on it. Vicmo shared this in, let's see, let me make it bigger. There we go. Vicmo shared Red October Trump pumpkin Red October. I thought it was good artwork, so I thought I'd pull that one up since it's Halloween. Why not? And Carrie shared this one. So what are you wearing for Halloween? The full armor of God, right? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And Tesla, you may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. This should have been in not a meme, maybe, because it's a quote.
The truth.
It's a quote from Tesla. And then I've got, okay, this isn't a meme, but Herbie shared this twice now, and I should have included it in my Animal Monster Mash video, and I didn't. So I'm going to play his video because it's just So cute. Oh, I have to scroll down here. Look at how cute is that leopard?
That is adorable.
Isn't it adorable? He loves his pumpkin.
I mean, I love pumpkin too. I make my own pumpkin spice creamer.
Oh, you do?
I
How
do.
What do you make it out of?
I start with sweetened condensed cream or sweetened condensed milk. And then I use just a can of that, and I add in 3 to 4 tablespoons of pumpkin puree, a tablespoon of pumpkin spice seasoning.
Oh.
Then you mix that all up, and when you're done with that, you add in a cup and a half or 2 cups of your milk of choice. I use almond milk. And then I add in also a little bit of sweetener. I've been using agave syrup, but you could use maple syrup. You could use any powdered or granulated sweetener you have.
Oh, okay.
But you just mix that all up, and I put it in a mason jar with a pour lid on the top, and I keep it in my fridge.
Oh, okay. And that's your coffee creamer for a couple
Mhm.
weeks, huh? Awesome. I love it. I love it.
And did you know that pumpkins are really good for animals? If they eat them and they eat the seeds, that's a natural dewormer.
I didn't know the seeds were, but I did know pumpkin was super good for animals.
Yes.
Okay, dewormer, really?
Mhm.
Well, look at you with the tips and tricks tonight, Moxie. That's pretty awesome. I like it. If you got any more Halloween-ish pumpkin,
I just have an obsession with pumpkin. Like I'm one of those girls that waits for pumpkin spice season. But I like pumpkin before it was cool to like pumpkin, though.
Yeah, I like the pumpkin spiced coffee. I think it's super yummy.
And now that I can make my own creamer, I make it all year round.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have a family member who's really into that. I need to share that recipe with her. All right. So the next meme is one that Rose often posts in my chat.
Mhm.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. Stop giving me your toughest battles. And Jesus tells us, you are my best soldier. So I just love that so much. I thought it was appropriate for tonight. Oh, here's the other one that Inspector shared. Oh, nope, not that one. Maybe I'll get to it. All right. So we have a little theme of some gun memes, and I'm going to do rapid fire on these.
I see what you did there.
I didn't even realize I did that. Oh my gosh. I have no idea. Like that was a subconscious thing. That's so funny. All right. So this is related to the latest mass shooting. How many more massacres do we have to orchestrate before you'll let us take your guns? So I know on the last show I said, false flags are real events, but they are orchestrated for a reason. So I thought this would be cool to follow up on with. And then I think some of these gun ones, Carrie might have shared with me. And Carrie, I'm not pulling up all your memes. I'll save some of them for our next show. But banning guns because criminals have too many is like castrating yourself because your neighbor has too many kids. It's true, though.
It is. It is. It really is.
Like, it doesn't stop people. Like, you don't take away from law-abiding citizens, because of the few that are crazy. And then the experts agree that gun control works. They're all commies, Hitler. Oh my gosh, Castro, Gaddafi, Stalin. And then just a friendly reminder. So this one's kind of like fire to me, like sizzling. So Adolf Hitler confiscated guns before killing 13 million people. Joseph Stalin confiscated guns before killing over 20 million people. Mao confiscated guns before killing 45 million people. And Pol Pot, who is Pol Pot? I don't even know who Pol Pot is.
I have
Confiscated
no
guns before
idea.
killing 2 million people. Can you guys in chat tell me who Pol Pot is? Because I feel very naive right now.
Was a Cambodian revolutionary dictator and politician who ruled Cambodia as prime minister in 1976 to 1979.
Oh, wow. You are fast.
I was already looking before you finished talking.
Wow, that was really fast, Moxie. It's like, whoa. Okay, the last one is there's a dam of American gun owners holding back the global totalitarian state. And we're all protecting humanity.
That is the most true meme I have seen today.
Right? That's a cool one. You know, artists are clever and meme makers are just so creative and clever. World War III, I did that. So, I mean, if you can't laugh at it, then you're going to go crazy. So, the border, why is our military here over in the Middle East when the invasion is over here on our southern border?
Because we don't defend our own borders. We only defend their borders.
Exactly. And then Biden, so because this is clowns and it's Halloween, Biden administration showing terrorists across the U.S. border. And Grand Old Memes did this one. Thank you for putting your name on your meme. It's easier to give people credit. And then Counterpoint Media, fly my proxies fly. So this is Iran sort of orchestrating everything Hamas and Hezbollah are doing. So that can be more true as well. No matter how paranoid or conspiracy minded you are, what the government is actually doing is worse than you imagine, which is probably very true. That's not really a funny meme, but
no.
This one is, though. Bernie Sanders standing in line for free stuff. Oh, I love this one.
I mean, socialist through and through.
Yeah. And this one I love too. And I should put it in Pepe's chat because he did a post and I haven't had time to reply to it, is what's your favorite candy? You know, for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite candy. These kids think they're getting candy this year, but really I'm handing out 1 terabyte of government conspiracy videos.
They're going to need some dentists. That's going to hurt.
This is my favorite candy. Oh my goodness. All right. And then the last meme, and then I've got a few not a memes, is the middle one, the ones exposing the satanic death cult, and then the rest of the world are sheep. So it just looked very Halloween-y to me, so I thought this was a good one. Okay, we ready for not a meme?
Yes.
All right. This is real.
I would react the same way, kid. I'm sorry.
The poor kid is afraid of the Obamas.
I can't blame him. I can't.
I can't either. And Inspector, this is my second Inspector one. I told him, I got to post this and not a meme. So this is an electric hearse. And he says, don't want to produce carbon emissions even after you die? Tesla's got you covered. Happy Halloween. So that should be like, Inspector, you need to put that like on the picture so that we can share it and say, Inspector created this meme.
I can do that later for him.
Oh, do it. Do it. And then put his little name on the bottom. All right. So this one, if you guys get grossed out easily, close your eyes. So have you guys heard of the Las Vegas Sphere? You know, the sphere in Las Vegas where they can do the 3D and it looks real and it's like okay, so you know what they did one day? They did a blinking eyeball. Oh shoot. Okay.
That's the weirdest looking eyeball ever. Oh.
They literally, it's Halloween, so I thought I got to show a blinking eyeball. This is real. I validated this through many news reports where people were creeped out because they did this.
I would be extremely creeped out too.
Exactly. Okay. This one, the poster got the country wrong, but it's still a real thing, a real video. So I don't know. Let me make this full screen. This is a public event, and there are urinals without enclosures outside. And yeah, that's in Amsterdam.
So many questions.
They posted that it was in Germany, but it's actually Amsterdam.
That doesn't surprise me.
Really? This doesn't surprise you?
No. But
it's
just
not a meme.
Why? Just why?
Well, exactly. So why would they not cover them up? Right? Why would it not be enclosed? Look at the women's restrooms are enclosed. So it's
and they're like all looking at each other and talking, and that's just weird.
Isn't it? It's crazy. So yeah, I looked it up to see if it was real, and it actually is.
Extremely public toilets. They're not lying.
They're not lying. No, so oh gosh, that was that went to anyway. Yeah, they're for real. And then let's see. Oh, yeah, I gotta have the sound on for this one. You guys have to let me know if you can't hear it. I had to show this, so and it maybe it's not a meme, is not appropriate, but I couldn't find another, like, where else do I show it? But this guy, you guys are gonna love this. He's trying to rob people and rob the place. Let me make sure the sound is up.
Everybody get down! Give me all the money! It's got the pockets! Give me all the money! Get down! Where's the money? Give me the money! Where's the money? Everybody give me everything! Where's the money?
They're not even reacting to him. so he left with nothing. They're not even.
He didn't lose anything in there besides his dignity.
Exactly. You go in and shout, "Give me your money." You think people are just going to give you your money?
You're gonna have to show me something a little more scary than your bag.
Yes, exactly.
Because if you keep it in the bag like that, I'm gonna assume you have nothing.
Exactly. Gosh, that was
We
funny.
are really desensitized. Prayer Warrior says, "Wow, we are desensitized."
Yes, isn't that true? That is so true. So let's see. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So this is not a meme because it's, well, super true. Cocaine was found at Biden's house. A dead body was found at Obama's house. A male prostitute was found at Pelosi's house. An illegal server was found at Clinton's house. And the FBI raided Trump's house. Okay, maybe I should have put it in the memes, but it's very.
It's also not a meme.
Well,
it is, but it isn't.
Some memes are and they aren't. Some memes are like that. So, anyway, I loved it. It was clever. People just, they're so good. This is a real costume, so that's why it's not under. It's quit sniffing me, you twit. It's Joe Biden sniffing.
That poor little girl.
I love how she's like playing along there. One other thing I saw on Twitter when I was looking up these memes, one of the people that I posted they're not a meme. They pointed out in one of their posts, so I have to show this. This is the last thing, and then we. Okay, I'm not going to play the video actually. So this is a video about how are the pyramids built, right? And I'm going to make the screen just a little bit bigger so you can read it. So if you scroll down and you look at the top comment, well, the pyramids were built before Isaac Newton invented gravity, so the stone's weight wasn't a problem.
Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Gravity's only a problem once we discover it.
It's only a problem once we discover it. Yep, that's for sure. So I'm just getting caught up on chat here. Let's see.
Carrie said that pumpkin is good for upset animal tummies.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, and Prayer Warrior said we needed that reminder that there is so much good in the world. Yes, we have to keep remembering the good stuff. And, you know, there's good news stories. I need to post more. I used to post more good news stories. I might do a little more of that in between the craziness that's going on in the world. But also, people, take a break and put on that armor of God, because we have to be there for our normie friends and family who haven't woken up yet, or in the middle of waking up and are like, you know, blown away as to what's happening in the world. So we have to be strong and be there for them. So we need to take our breaks and put on our armor. And Carrie said a very heartfelt story about your mom, Moxie. Oh, I think I read that one. Seems like God was preparing your father and you, my grandfather. But yes, I think so. I think we were being prepared. Let's see. Well, I think that's it for the comments, but I want to thank everybody who shared your stories. We got to do this.
Thank you.
We got to do that more often. You know, we did that last Christmas. It's like, tell us your favorite Christmas memory, and we shared. They were hilarious. I love that kind of stuff. So we'll have to do more of that. And do you have any other closing thoughts, Moxie?
Just make sure you are taking time to rest your brain. Put your phone down, unplug, spend time with your animals and your kids, and think about something other than the news feed, because the news feed is super heavy lately.
It has been so heavy.
I have been forced to, like it was said earlier in Pepe's thing, that you will start getting sick if you don't look away and you don't take time for yourself. I woke up on Saturday morning after a nightmare that I don't want to tell anybody about. And my throat was on fire. I didn't know if I was going to have a voice until about 10 minutes before I came to the computer. I was purposely not talking because I was afraid that I wasn't going to have a voice, and then I didn't want to have to cancel our Saturday morning show. But I ended up getting myself sick because of the stress of not only the news feed, but Kraken had his surgery and everything. And just that amount of stress just completely, every time I get super stressed like that, I get sick. And it's always my throat. My throat is always the first thing that happens.
Really? You know,
when I get super stressed, yes.
Other people have been talking about their sore throats lately too. I think, Carrie, weren't you talking about having a sore throat as well? And we were all having headaches last week. And and I do think spiritual warfare is happening. And I do think you're right. You need to take the time to rest so you don't get sick. But you know what happens to me? I go, so busy, right? But when I take vacation, as soon as I relax, I get sick. Isn't that strange? So I'm like the opposite.
And if you don't rest and you don't take a vacation, your body is going to make you take a vacation, whether you want it or not.
That's true. Because a couple of years ago, my appendix burst and I had to have emergency surgery. So my body said, hey, you got to stop.
If you don't take time for your health, your body will make time for disease.
It's true. It's true. Well, thank you for that great advice, Moxie. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. We really love sharing this evening with you. And just remember, always look to God rather than to anyone else. So love you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Bye.
I can see clearly